We also have the ability to trim this video afterwards, and I can also highlight if you guys aren't sharing screens, I can just blow you up and put you on the full screen.
Okay.
Don't do that to me, James.
Okay.
Need a lot of touch up.
So I want to welcome everybody who is joining at the moment. We currently have 31 participants. I do want to thank everybody for joining. Hopefully, if depending on what part of the state you're in, hopefully you weren't hit too heavy with respect to the storm that we had. I know I lost power here for a few hours, but you know, like any good scout, we're always prepared, and I just considered it another winter camping trip. I got a little bit of a smirk from my wife, but you know, what can I tell you? But anyway, please be patient as we wait for more people to join, and we wait for the appropriate time as well to start. We do have several individuals who have signed on tonight, and again, just you know, we'll be patient and wait. The one thing we are going to ask is that you if you look at your screen, you should have a section where it talks about, I think it says Q&A or chat. In that area is where, you know, please, as we're talking about certain items, please, by all means, write your question in there. James Thompson, who's also online, he's our tech support tonight. And, you know, he'll either answer those questions immediately for you, and if it's a real one that stumps him, then by all means, he's going to pass it either to myself or to Michael. Just as a quick introduction for myself, and you guys are probably going to hear it again once I start and once I know we have more people online. You know, my name is John Arrico. I am the past council commissioner for the Daniel Webster Council. I'm also a past Daniel Webster Council board member. Currently, my role here in the Daniel Webster Council is I'm an assistant scoutmaster for my local troop, the one that my son earned his Eagle at. And then I'm currently just helping out from here, doing different things within the council to help move things forward. This is one of the things that I'm helping out at is on the maple syrup and pancake mix. It's something that I've run. I believe this is now the 5th year, I believe now that we've run it. Michael Farr is also online with us, who you can see. And he'll be talking about specifically the camp cards. So I'll be talking about the maple syrup and pancake mix, and Michael will touch on the camp cards. We're going to wait just another minute just to make sure that we do have everybody that joins. I think tonight will flow pretty quickly, and we'll go from there. So just going to pause here for a minute, and then we'll start. All right. So it has slowed down in terms of those individuals that are joining. So we're going to go ahead and get started now with tonight's kickoff. Again, just as a quick reminder, we are asking that you use the Q&A functionality of tonight's kickoff, which is where you can post your questions based on any input information that we provide you guys this evening. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Again, my name is John Arrico. I'm former council commissioner, former board member of the Daniel Webster Council. Today, I am just an assistant scoutmaster and continuing to be a member at large here in the Daniel Webster Council and assisting in any fashion that I can to give back to the program. My son is an Eagle Scout. My daughter was active in the program. They have both tremendously benefited from this. Also with me tonight is Michael Farr, and Michael will be talking about the camp cards. So with that, we are going to go ahead and get started. All right. So the first thing I wanted to do is I just want to provide a couple of quick highlights in terms of the 2 different programs that we are having for this spring for fundraisers. As it relates to maple syrup, one of the things that we did not allow in years past is speculative orders. Pretty much it was a take order basis only type of fundraiser. However, if there are units that are out there that are willing to take on the risk, they by all means, they can actually place a speculative order. And I'll go into more details in that in a little bit. Selling prices as it relates to maple syrup have remained the same, no change there. Of course, because of the change in the fundraising here in the Daniel Webster Council, there is increased profit margin for the units. And one of the big differences that you will see this year versus last year is that payment will be due on delivery of the product. One of the chief reasons for that is because as much as we want to trust everybody, unfortunately, we have had to chase units for payment. I will give you one solid example where it took me 3 years in which to collect for a maple syrup and pancake order that a unit actually did. As it relates to popcorn, I'm still working on actually helping. This is one of the things I'm helping the council with, is collecting nearly $8,000 in past due popcorn invoices where units just haven't paid us yet. So again, the profit margin that the council used to be able to afford the fact that they could take some of these bad debts. There's just nothing there for us to take those bad debts anymore. So payment will be due on delivery. As it relates to the camp cards, there's expanded offering that is going to be beyond the local merchants, which Michael's going to go into. He's also going to touch on the fact that there can be actually some flexibility in the selling price. We're going to provide you with what a suggested selling price is going to be. If you use that suggested selling price, 70% of the funds that you earn or raise actually will go back to the unit. And then similar to the maple syrup, payment will be due based on when you guys order the cards and you pick up those cards. Okay, so we're going to start off first with the maple syrup fundraiser. Again, this fundraiser really has not changed much over the years. This sale works best as a take order sale, is how it does work best. And the reason why it works best in a take order situation is because it means that there is no risk to the unit. If the unit, based on what they sell, what they receive from orders from their customers, is what you're ordering from us in terms of what we then get from our suppliers, and therefore there is no potential for loss at all. However, one of the things we are introducing, and I did touch upon it as part of my opening highlights, is we are going to introduce a speculative order, meaning that the unit can purchase the product on a speculation basis, but that means that the unit is also going to assume all the risk. And in this particular case, if you do take that product on a speculative basis, there is no product that can be returned, unfortunately. So again, and a great example of a speculative order that you might want to do is if we can get the product in time, and depending upon the date in which you have your next town election, and if you're allowed to do it, is sell the product at the town election. We did have one unit that wanted to do that last year, and we allowed them to do that. And they sold they sold out of all their product, which was $1,000 of product that they had taken. So when does the sale begin? It begins now. And we've actually extended it an additional week out to April 24th. So pretty much no different than what we had a year ago. It does start now. And again, it does extend until April 24th. There is no change to the products in terms of what we're offering. One of the nice things about this sale is that we're able to keep it simple. We keep it simple in the fact that we know that our customers like their pints. The pint is the single largest selling item that we do have. Quarts, there are those individuals who do like the quarts, but the pint is really the sweet spot as it relates to this particular sale. A couple of years ago, we were able to offer different pancake mixes in terms of the size of the bag. There was a small bag and there was a large bag. Unfortunately, Polly's went to one size bag, and that is the 18-ounce bag that's currently there displayed. And again, the 6-piece and the 3-ounce maple sugar are also available. So earlier I talked about the pricing and the fact that the pricing of the product is going to remain the same. And that is true. And so the suggested selling price for the product is $16 for the pint, $30 for the quart. Pancake mix remains at $15, $6 for the candy, and $7 for the maple sugar. And so what does that mean in terms of what does a unit receive back? Well, on the pint, they get $7.97, nearly a 50% gross margin. On the pint, I'm sorry, on the quart, $16.46. On the pancake mix, you would earn $6.20 per item sold, $3.08 on the candy, and the $3.07 on the maple sugar. So again, those are, again, what you've seen here is prices remaining the same for the suggested selling price, but you guys on your side, your profit has actually nearly doubled from where it was a year ago. Now, how do we say, what are the best ways to sell this product? Again, you can take it on a speculative basis and schedule your own show and sells. You know, unlike popcorn where you have to go through the system, you know, if you want to go and call up Lowe's and they're willing to allow you to stand in front, or Walmart, by all means, you can certainly do it. But again, remember, on a speculative basis, you're taking the risk. And I would recommend that if you do decide to do that, that your committee actually is fully on board with that. Promoted on social media. There was a couple of years ago, about 2 years ago, I believe, there was one scout who used his mom's Facebook account. He sold well over $1,000 just through the social media outlet in terms of posting it on Facebook and everything else. And then similar to last year, we are going to have our own online store. I'm just going to click on the link here real quick and show you. So the online order form, again, this is any of your customers that have used this in the past, this form really hasn't changed. It's the same format. You know, basically your customer will insert their name, the customer email address, their phone number. It is we're definitely going to need and require that the name of the scout be provided. That is absolutely important because we need to make sure that when that online product is sold, that we give credit to that scout who sold that product. And not only the scout, but also the unit. You know, is it a pack? Is it a troop? Sometimes I can figure out whether or not if they accidentally click a pack and it's really a troop that it should get credited to. And then obviously the unit number, all key information. And again, and what your customer is going to be seeing is exactly what you see here in terms of the product that they have the ability to order. There is a processing fee that is attached to this that they will be required to pay. All right. Speculative product. So what is a speculative order? Again, I know I've talked about it a couple of times, but just to make sure we all completely understand it, is that the unit does not have confirmed orders. They don't have a customer order to support the sale, that sale. So you're actively going out and you're selling that on a speculative basis. You know, if the product doesn't sell on a speculative basis, can I return it? And the answer, unfortunately, is no. You're not going to be able to return that product if you do take it on a speculative basis, and the unit will assume the financial risk of that. And again, highly recommend that you guys have, if that's the route you're going to take, by all means, make sure your unit committee is in complete agreement with that. And then the last thing is when do I have to pay for it? Again, we've talked about that. At the time you pick up the product is when you're going to have to pay for that product. Now there is, again, I mentioned earlier, the DWC online store. We do have a QR code. By the way, this presentation will be on the council website this evening after this presentation, I believe. I think it goes live. And so there's a QR code that you can use. If you don't want to use the DWC online store, you can actually use two other devices, other platforms. One is Cheddar Up. Troop 19 that is based out of Nashua, New Hampshire. They actually utilize Cheddar Up. They use Cheddar Up for when they have their reef sale, but they also use Cheddar Up because they also, when they sell their reefs, they also sell maple syrup and pancake mix along with it. So they actually have a nice little platform that they have in terms of how they do it. The other option for you is also Square Up as well. Again, the advantage for setting up your own store, of course, is you're going to get the money right away. By the way, if it's on the online store, if you use the DWC online store, what's going to happen is those funds that we receive, those will get credited into your respective unit account is where that will happen. Okay. All right. So how do I get sales sheets? Again, everything is going to be online for you. You can go to the Daniel Webster Council website. I'm just going to go ahead and click and bring you to that page right now. And so again, this is the page that you will go to. And what, again, on the website, when you get to the main landing page, one of the areas you're going to want to go to is support scouting. And then you got this other one here that says fundraising for scouts and units. And that's where you're going to want to go if you go to the main landing page. Okay. And that will then bring you to where you need to get to. Again, in here, what you're going to have is one of the things that we are asking for, and I know that it's not something we've asked for in the past, but we do want you to register if your unit is going to have an intention to participate. So again, if you were to click on that link, what it's going to do is bring you to a form. It's really basically going to say who's the point of contact for the participating unit, what is your email address, what's your cell phone number, and your unit type and unit number. Those are the main things that we're really kind of looking for on this particular form. Let me go back to the website here. Sorry. All right. All right. Some of the other things that has on it, this is where you would download your sales sheet. And again, and the other thing that's going to be on the website, and I'll just go through these all really quick here, but the ability to download the leader's guide. So there is a leader's guide that you'll be able to download as well. So let me get to the sales sheet. Again, the sales sheet looked very similar to what it did last year. Did not really make significant changes here. And again, name, phone number of your customer, and again, what they're ordering and everything else. Again, very, very similar to what we had last year. Okay, so that is the sales sheet. What's the timeline that we're talking about? And again, as I indicated at the start of this, you can start now, and it goes until April 24th. Some of the key order dates for when you can order product are going to be, if you do want speculative product, I'm going to really ask that you order that by February 5th. The reason why I put the February 5th deadline in there is, again, thinking about some of the town elections that might be coming up and the ability to make sure that we get you that product in time. Sometimes I can get the product within 1 week. Sometimes it can take up to 2 weeks. It really depends upon their delivery routes and if I hit them at the right time and everything. There's going to be a second opportunity for you guys to place an order. And that is what I call as your first take order. That's when you've gone out, you've polled all of your scouts, all the individuals that are selling this product, and you say, hey, what have you sold? And and maybe you want to take an initial order just to try to start distributing that. And then the final take order date is really going to be April 24th. That's when I need to have everything. And that's when I need to be able to get that. I'll then accumulate that order. That order will also include any online sales. So I will run the reports for the online sales. I will then include that in your take order sales that you have. So please do not include it in there. And then I will also send you a report of those online sales by your unit. And actually, what I'll probably do is I'll see if I can show you an example of one from last year here shortly. I'll have to pull it up. Order pickup, I'll send you guys an email that says, hey, product is available, and where you can pick it up. Unlike past years, this year we're actually going to be picking the pickup location is going to be at the Camp Carpenter Dining Hall, or other arrangements might be made. If I happen to be traveling down to Nashua and that's where one of you guys units are, I might say, you know what, I got to go there. I'm running an errand. I'm more than happy to drop it off for you or meet you somewhere. Again, if I can do it, great. And we've already talked about the payment. So how do you, the unit, place the order? You've now accumulated all these sales sheets. You now have all these take orders. How do I go about ordering the product? And again, I showed you the the website where there's actually a link, and I'll go back to that in a second. But if you actually, there is a form, and that form is, we're going to ask you to, what district are you from? What's your unit type? What's your unit number? Who's the coordinator? Your email address. Phone number is going to be absolutely key, especially if you're running late, as an example, or and I need to get a hold of you because I'm the one that's waiting at dining hall to deliver it, and we had an arranged time, and you may not be there. And then all you would need to do is say, hey, the number of pints that our unit sold in total, based on, I'm just use 5 scouts. The 5 scouts that sold, they sold 23 quarts, or they sold 18 bags of pancake mix, whatever it is. This is where you would then put your unit order, and you would hit submit. And again, the council website is a great, this website is live. So again, everything that I'm showing you guys tonight, again, if you go here, and again, you can get to there from the main page, going to the fundraising scouts, fundraising for scouts and units, and in here will be everything. One of the things that, James, we're doing tonight is we are recording tonight's kickoff. So once again, we're able to, this tonight's kickoff video will be posted for anybody who has potentially missed tonight's presentation. All right. Again, the product pickup is going to can be ordered at any time. Primary distribution is going to be the Camp Carpenter Dining Hall. For those of you who don't know where the Camp Carpenter Dining Hall, it's located at 300 Blondin Road in Manchester. And then, of course, as I mentioned earlier, other arrangements can be made. So when do I have to pay? Again, I don't want to go into lengthy discussion on this. I think I've already mentioned it to you before several times, which is again upon pickup. Is there a leader's guide? The answer is yes, there is a leader's guide. And so again, if you go to the website, scroll down, you're going to see here where it says download leader's guide. You click on that. And again, this is what you will have, a document that's 6 pages long. In here is going to talk about all the key information in terms of, it talks about the selling price, talks about the unit commissions that you guys are going to have. It talks about, unit ordering in terms of how you order product based on what you've sold, everything else. And then again, we reiterate some of the information in here. So there's your QR code for our online store. There's the link for the online store. Again, something that you can send out to your family and friends and relatives and share that with them, and they can order it. I will tell you, I don't recommend shipping it. Extremely expensive to ship this product. So unless you want to be very generous. Again, that is entirely up to you if that's what you want to do. If you do, who do I contact if you have questions? You will contact, use the email address that you see there, which is mapleleaf@newhampshirescouting.org. You will get a response from myself. When I do respond, it will be coming from my personal email address, but that will be the email address where you can send questions to. With that, I am going to stop sharing my presentation, and Michael is now going to share his screen and talk about the 2024 camp cards.
John, while Michael's pulling up his slides, we want to answer 2 quick questions.
Sure.
All right. So it says, what about leaders without youth? Can they sell for their unit? Would we just tell the folks to put their name in where the name of the scout is?
Yes, absolutely. Leaders can absolutely sell if they so desire. I mean, I've made lots of references to youth. This does not have to be a youth-only fundraiser. By all means, the adults can certainly participate in the sale as well. Yes, they would just put the adult's name in that spot.
Excellent. And then the other one is, if a unit does place a speculative order, does the credit go to a scout or to the unit?
So at that point, if you do place a speculative order, the unit is the one who's going to get the credit for it. If again, I mean, if you're, I assume you're looking at, how do we credit youth for it? That's where you're going to have to track it. So like, for example, if you do a show and sell as an example, that's where you're going to have to track, all right, who are the, do I take, we sold $1,000 and I had 5 youth participate. So they each get $200 credit evenly, right? So it's up to you in terms of how you do it, but that's going to be your responsibility on the speculative side to track it on a youth basis. Same way you would be, basically you would be do no different, like on the sales sheet, for example, right? If John Doe goes and does the sales sheet on a take order basis, and then he hands that sheet into you, that's your record for how much you need to allocate to each of those, to that scout or adult.
All right, that's all we got. Michael, take it away.
All right, good evening, everybody. My name is Michael Farr. I'm the new Program and Activity Director here for Daniel Webster Council. Just started at the beginning of the year. Very excited to be in the position. Previously, I was a volunteer for Abnaki for almost 8 years, running popcorn and Cub Master and trying to get my 2 scouts to Eagle rank. We'll see how that goes. I have a 16-year-old that's kind of dragging his heels now. But you're going to be hearing a lot from me over the next year, as I am going to be in charge of pretty much all product sales throughout throughout the council level. I wanted to take a moment to thank John for all of his efforts in spearheading this pancake and maple syrup campaign again this year. It's not a small task. A lot of man hours involved. So thank you, John. I really appreciate it. And I know everybody on the call appreciates it. So with that being said, we're going to kick it off right into the next fundraising opportunity. Many of you may be familiar with the Camp Card fundraising opportunity at the council level. As John's initial slide suggested, there are some very exciting changes to the program. One of them being, I'll just kind of hover over this area right here, the front of the card. This is an exciting new portion of the card that we'll be getting into here in just a moment. But this is no longer just a regional based discount or savings card. This is something that's going to be able to be used, quite frankly, on a national scale, with almost 500,000 discount and offer opportunities associated with the card. So with that said, welcome to the new and improved 2024 Camp Card. It's a great, the Camp Card was designed to help scouts and units raise funds for scouting activities. You do not need to use the funds for summer camp. That is a very common misconception. They are designed to help units raise funds for scouting activities. So if a troop wants to do a whitewater rafting trip, they can use those funds towards that. That's doesn't get any simpler. Why should your scouts sell them? It creates a great opportunity for the scouts to fund their own scouting adventure. With Camp Cards, they're just the possibilities are truly endless. You can sell them to anybody, anywhere the scout wants to. It's the savings on the back of the card, as you can see, are pretty decent. And if somebody uses just one of the offers, it's going to more than pay for the card. You can see some exciting new vendors. Dave & Buster's has joined the Camp Card this year. New Hampshire Fisher Cats is on there. And then again, we'll talk about the exciting national code system. So multiple discounts from local businesses, And then the new national online offers, tens of thousands are available for those offers. So how does the card save people money? We kind of touched on it a little bit. Just there are 4 tear off one-time use offers or discounts on the card. So those tabs tear off, you hand those tabs to the local business, and those tear offs go away, and it's, it's all used up. And then you have 8 reoccurring offers on the back of the card. So those discounts can be used again and again when you present the card to the retailer. And that can be done throughout the lifespan of the card. This year's card does expire on December 31st, 2024. And then this is the really exciting part. This is the part that just we didn't have access to. Each card is going to have an individual unique coupon code associated with the card. You're going to be able to log on with that code, and you're going to be able to search literally hundreds of thousands of offers nationwide. With this code, you're going to be able to select up to 25 physical print and use at local businesses type offers. So if Moe's Sandwich Shop has buy one, get one free, you can click on it, print it, bring it into Moe's, and you'll be able to use that offer. The Children's Museum has a fantastic offer on there. There's tons of actual retailers that are on this. And then unlimited online offers. The difference between a physical offer that you click and print and an online offer is clearly just a retailer that's selling online, not brick and mortar. And you're buying direct from a website, and they have an offer. You can use as many of those as you want. Why is this so beneficial? Well, if you're in a remote area and you don't have any businesses close to you that are on the front of the card, now you can just log on, type in your zip code, and the site will bring up all these places that this card will work at. Even better, you can send that code to grandma, grandpa, your aunt, your uncle, and they'll be able to do the same thing. So if they want to support the Scout and the Scout getting to camp or using it for some fun activities, that's a great way for family members that don't live nearby, that just might not have one of these local businesses near them. So just a phenomenal opportunity, adds a great deal of value to the card. How the program works. And again, John's initial slide touched on it a little bit. Some of the main points, there are some of the things that have changed, but camp cards are purchased by the scouting unit. So either a troop pack, crew post ship, and they're sold at the Manchester office member care center in packs of 20 cards. Individual families will not be able to pick up orders or place orders for cards. We'll need to coordinate that with your unit so that they can get the cards for you and then distribute them to the Scouts. So if we have any single families on the call, just make sure we're coordinating that with our units. The unit will then distribute the cards to their Scouts, and they need to track what is being handed out to each Scout. This is important because the unit needs to know what they've given to John Q and Susie and everything like that, so they can follow up with these individuals that have these cards, because the Scouts are going to be out there selling these cards and then bringing the money back to the unit. Again, we're raising funds for the unit, so it is going to be up to the unit's discretion to divvy out those funds as they see fit. So some units will do whatever the Scout sells is what they're going to get towards their camp or whatever activities they're doing. Other units will say, let's all work together and put it into a pool. It is really going to be up to your unit leadership to decide make those decisions. We have done something again new this year. If you noticed on the first slide, there was no price point on the front of the card. Every single year up until 2024, there has been a $10 or a dollar value stamped on the front of the card. That dollar value has been removed. Why did we do this? Well, it offers a flexibility in pricing. We did this because of two reasons. Some people want to pay or contribute a little bit more to scouting, and we're kind of saying, no, we're only going to take $10. And the other reason is with all of the changes to the program and the unit having to take the cards in advance, it allows the unit to actually sell the card for a lower price if they so desire. So we're going to suggest a price of $10 per card, and we're going to base our math as far as your commissions and unit profit based on that $10 selling price. If the unit decides that they are not selling the card and they want to sell it for $5 or $3 or $15, it's going to be completely up to the unit leadership to make those decisions. That's not anything that an individual family should take upon themselves. So based on our suggested selling price of $10, the cost for each card to the unit is $3. Now, this is very exciting also because last year the cost of the card was $5 to the unit, and that's if you paid early, and then it was $6 if you didn't. So if you do the math real quick, last year you had a max profit potential of 50%, but most units saw the 40% because they didn't get the payment in time. Now you're buying the cards as you pick them up or get them delivered. And I'll go into the delivery portion of it in just a moment. At the $10 suggested price, $3 per card, that's a profit to the unit of $7. Now, we don't want units losing out on money. So if you buy 100 cards and you aren't able to sell them at the $10, you can sell them at $7. You can sell them at $5 so that you're minimizing any potential loss on the card. But with the value built in that we've built into the card this year, it's going to be pretty easy to sell them at $10 compared to years past. How do you order camp cards? So just like John, there's a form. I'm not going to click on it because my computer's been a little funky today, and I'm really afraid that if I click on this link, I'm not going to be able to get back to the slideshow. So we're not going to take any chances tonight. But as you can clearly see, there's a link here. You click on this link, it's going to bring you to a camp card order form. Much like the maple syrup and pancake order form, it's going to ask for some very key information. That information is the unit leader's name that is in charge of camp cards. Whether it's a volunteer or a leader for the unit, but it's a unit appointed person. We need their name, phone number, email address. It's also going to ask for what unit type you are, what unit number you are. It's also going to ask how many cards in multiples of 20 you would like the unit would like to purchase. Then it's also going to ask how you would like to pay. Now, you're not going to have to pay at the time that you fill out the order, but it's asking you to select your payment method because there is something a little bit different with the payment as well. We take cash, check, which are preferred, and then we also take credit card, and we'll go into that in just a little second here. Where do you pick up the camp cards? Camp cards can be picked up at 1500 Bodwell Road in Manchester. That's the Member Care Center right here in Manchester. And again, when you are not able to get to the Manchester Member Care Center, we may have alternative available for you. What this means is we're gonna be out there at roundtables. We're going to be we have member care team members that might live out closer to where you are. If you were to reach out to myself, and my email is on the leader guide that's posted online. It's michael.farr@scouting.org. And I will be happy to help try to coordinate an easier pickup. But again, much like with the maple syrup, those cards are prepaid for. So if we were to meet you out there closer to your home, you would want to have a check or money or a credit card ready to go at the time that we meet. So payment is due upon delivery. Cash and check are preferred, as I said. Now we're going to get into that credit card a little bit. If you do decide that you want to pay with a card, there will be a 3% fee that will be applicable if paid by the card. So why do we charge this fee? Well, we don't charge this fee. The credit card processing company that we use charges this fee. And unfortunately for us, but fortunately for you, with the new commission structure, Daniel Webster cannot incur any additional expenses with the rollout of these fundraisers. We just don't have any room. We're pretty much giving the units all of the money. Camp cards are non-refundable once purchased. So if the unit takes 100 camp cards in their possession, they need to sell those 100 camp cards. Unfortunately, there will not be returns accepted this year. And again, that rolls into, there's just no room for us to take on any of that risk. If we were only giving you 40% commission, then we could take those cards back and try to figure out what to do with them, but that's just no longer the case. And at this point, that rolls us into the Q&A portion of the webinar for both Pancake, maple syrup, and camp cards. I hope that we've been able to answer a lot of your initial questions, but we are here for at least another 20 minutes for you to make sure that you feel supported in what you're doing.
Yeah, so we just got a couple of rolling in. We had a couple of questions about no returns and prepayment. As John mentioned earlier, and Mike, you just mentioned again, with all of the profit being passed along to our units, there just isn't a ability to gamble, if you will, on taking back returns or chasing payments months and months after the sale has ended. So there's a couple of those that I'm answering currently.
So can I just a spoiler alert on most of our fundraising efforts and product sale efforts moving forward with the commission structure, the way it's set up, there is just no room for us to be taking that risk at the council level. So you'll see with that commission structure being heavily beneficial to the units, you're going to see that no return product on product, pretty much across the board for our campaigns.
One that just came in as I'm typing some of these answers is, how quick is the turnaround for card pickup after ordering?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking that. So once the unit fills out that order form, a message is sent to myself and it's sent to the member care center. We ask that you allow 1 business day for us to fill those orders. If something needs to be expedited for one reason or another, we're happy to address those on a case-by-case basis, but we're asking 1 business day from the time that you submit the order for us at the member care center to have it bundled up and ready for you to go. And then again, remember to, if you're going to be doing cash or check or credit card, have that payment ready for you when you come pick up.
One that just came in is Kevin is asking, is there a concern that one unit would decide to sell them for 15 while a unit decides to sell them for 10? And somebody mentions, hey, we got it for cheaper the town over.
So again, we're putting on a suggested retail price, and we're allowing the units to take contributions for what they feel is acceptable for the card. I understand there are some units that are close in proximity. I don't think that you're going to encounter a large amount of feedback in that area, but again, the suggested selling price is $10. It's and that's what all of our math is based on. When you look at the unit making a decision to sell the card for less, that would be a situation where, again, the cards weren't selling. We're getting into June. People aren't going to be as readily willing to pay the full $10 for a card that's only going to be good for half a year now. The unit at that point does have the option to sell it at a reduced price to help liquidate those cards, so to speak.
Another one that just came in, we've gotten this question twice now, is about the camp scholarship. If you want to address that, I know it's covered by the increase in cost, it's not an actual scholarship anymore.
So let's get some clarification, James. Are we talking about a campership, or are we talking about previous compensation or recognition for sales?
Sure. Yep. So in the past, we used to, if I think it was like 175 cards, if a kid sold those, they would get a free week for camp.
Right. Okay. I wanted to make sure I was answering the right question.
Yep. Understood.
So again, let's circle back to, the Daniel Webster Council is no longer taking $6 a card. We're actually taking very close to what the card costs us to have made. And then administrative costs obviously incorporated in running the fundraiser. Very, very minimal. So that unfortunately eliminates that budget room for recognition. That recognition is going to need to be done at a unit level, because the unit now is taking 70%, of the profit.
And when does this sale run through? Starting essentially tonight?
So again, same with John's maple syrup and popcorn pancake, they're running pretty consecutively. So you can start placing orders now, and they could essentially be available later tomorrow afternoon or the beginning of the day on Friday if you ordered them right away. I will tell you that last year, just as a key point, the state ordered 12,000 cards last year. We ordered 10,000 cards this year. We do not know if a second order will be available. But the cards are on a well supplies last basis. So it's important. There's no true end date to when you can get the cards, as long as the member care center have them in stock. Depending on when we deplete our initial supply, will depict whether or not we place another order. So again, we have to operate on a well supplies last. So if it's something that the unit is definitely interested in doing, my recommendation would be to get in on it sooner rather than later. And that would also depict whether or not we could do that supplemental order.
Yeah. And Mike, I just wanted to clarify, our initial order this year was larger than our initial order last year. We did do a second order last year. But what had happened is we had reached out to all those units that had cards. Nobody wanted to give them back early. And then we essentially took back that many, if not a little bit more than our entire second order. So we did order a couple thousand more than we had initially last year. But overall, we did order 10,000. So there was a couple people asking questions regarding that.
So James, that's a great point. And if you circle back to what James just said, and you look at the commission structure and how much is going to the unit versus how much council is retaining, if we were to have even a 2,000 card loss, whereas we handed out 10,000 cards and units didn't want to return them, and then at the end of the program, units returned 2,000 cards. That 2,000 card, that puts us as a council for this fundraiser way into the red. There is just really no wiggle room with this commission structure to do it any other way, unfortunately. Fortunately for you, unfortunately for us.
Real quick, because I don't know if everybody's looking at the Q&As that are being posted out there, but a couple of them, like one of them, just so everybody's on the same page, as it relates to show and sells, Mike, we're not managing that like they do in popcorn. I mean, it's if a unit wants to go and do something at Lowe's, they can certainly do that. If they want to do it at the urban gas station, they can certainly do that. But we're not managing show and sells like the
Right.
way it's managed. Popcorn, yes, it's managed and everything, but we're not managing any of that. Correct?
That's correct. So it'll be up to the unit to reach out to the local businesses and foster those relationships. And I'll tell you, if there's a Lowe's in your area, or if there's a Hannaford supermarket in your area, have a unit representative reach out to these locations and see if you can set up a table. If you're going to do the speculative order with the pancake and maple syrup, or if you just want to hang out at a storefront with camp carts, there's nothing saying you can't do that either. But that is going to be something that the unit is going to the unit's going to foster those relationships and put those sales together. And if the unit wants to get involved at that level, they can also set up a sign-up sheet for different scouts to sign up for different shifts or whatever. Very similar to a popcorn sale, but again, that'll be all unit driven.
Yeah. And if a unit decides to take 100 cards, right, their upfront cost is $300, right? So how many cards do they need to sell in order to recoup that?
So if a unit takes possession of 100 cards, they need to sell 30 of those cards to break even. Once they sell 30 of those cards at $10 a card, they've made their money back, and everything else they sell is profit that goes towards their scouting adventure. So when you look at the big picture, it may be a little bit scary to think I've got to take this risk on upfront, but when you look at the actual cost per card, it really is easy to recoup the initial investment. And then that 3% processing fee. What does it do? It changes it from a $3 per card cost to the unit to a $3.09 per cost to the unit. So if paying with a credit card is more convenient, and somebody wants to do that and get reimbursed by the unit once the sale's complete, then it's a 9-cent increase per card. It is not a lot of money. So $6.91 still goes back to the unit for every card if they're sold at the suggested price.
And I know somebody had asked, I believe, if they could look at the national discounts. And so I'm posting right now. Oops, maybe I'm posting it. The link that everybody, it's in the chat, where if you want to take a look at the national discounts, you can take a look at what's available. So that link has been posted in the chat for you all.
And there is a way to look without typing in a code. You can search with your zip code, or if you want to know if there are discounts in the area that you have family, say you have family out in California or Wyoming, you want to type in their zip code and see if there's something out there that they can use it on. There is a way on that website to do that search without the code. You won't be able to get any of the offers, obviously, because that requires the code.
And just confirming, if a unit wants 100 cards, they'll come to the member care center and they will pay $300 for those cards, with the potential of returning, earning $1,000 in gross revenue, and the unit taking $700 back in profit. Correct?
Yeah, and it works the same whether or not you want to have it picked up at the member care center, or if you want to meet somebody at a round table. If we have advance notice, I really want to make it convenient for the people that maybe don't live close to Manchester. We're not going to charge you a delivery fee. We're going to make it, but we've got to have staff in the area for it to work, obviously. But either way you look at it, you stand to earn 70%. It's a pretty substantial amount of money for a $10 card.
All right. one of the questions out there is if they're a small unit who doesn't have a lot of funds, this paying for the cards up front could potentially be very difficult for them. Is there any suggestions that you might have for them?
So what I would love to say is I would love to talk to that individual unit on a case-by-case basis, and I can be reached at that michael.farr@scouting.org. You know, there is not a lot of room, again, for us to, to take on risk with these fundraisers. But I do not want to, I don't want to turn somebody away if they're legitimately a unit that has a very small amount of cash flow. We can do some research into the accounting of the unit and make a case by case. And again, personal checks, cash, personal credit cards can be used and then refunded by the unit. So there are different ways to handle that. It doesn't necessarily have to come directly out of the unit's active account.
Okay. All right, let's see. Let's see. My apologies. Did Mike say there was a way to see the discounts at the link John posted without logging in? Well,
there is. Yeah, I believe you can do a zip code search, and that will bring up. You can do a zip code search, and then there's a drop box for how many mile radius that you want to search, and it should bring up all of the offers within, let's say, a 25-mile radius for that zip code.
Yeah. This next one here is can we call these discount cards instead of camp cards? I noticed parents were nervous as they haven't committed to the idea of summer camp yet. I think that's a valid comment because, you, like you mentioned earlier, and like you shared, I mean, somebody can sell these cards, but not necessarily go to summer camp, but they might use it to go on whitewater rafting trip or something like that.
These are cards that are intended to fund the unit's scouting adventure. And I keep using that term, unit's scouting adventure, because let's face it, these are not designed for individual families to go out, come get, sell, and keep the money and use for whatever they think is fair. It's the units agreeing to do the fundraiser. They're going to pick up the cards. They're going to distribute the cards. But this doesn't have to be a camp card, just like John just said. This is a scouting adventure card. And really the unit can set the parameters for what they want those funds to be used for. If we're trying to fund a unit activity towards the end of the year for a year-end celebration, whatever the unit feels is going to be a worthy cause for these scout funds to be used for. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And then another question here is for folks buying online, do they get hit with a fee online when paying for syrup? The answer is yeah, they do. So there is a fee. I think it's around 3.5%, I believe, is what the processing fee is this year on credit card sales. So, but yes, there is a fee that they do get in there. So your commission doesn't get altered by that. So the commission that we shared and posted, and so as an example on the pint, for example, where I said you get $7.97, you get $7.97 whether they buy it online or they do a take order. So either way, you still get the same $7.97 because your customer is paying the processing fee already. Okay.
And that's very similar to just about anything out there now. I mean, ticket agencies, there's credit card processing fees for just about anything that's not in a brick and mortar store, just because it's so expensive to cover.
All right. There are no more questions. So
No more questions?
not at the moment.
Well, what I would like to do, just in case we get any more stragglers, we got 2 or 3 more minutes here before 8 o'clock rolls around. I just would like to thank everybody for coming out and sharing a portion of their Wednesday night with us. And thank James in the background for making sure our tech runs properly, and obviously John for what he does with the pancake and maple syrup. Please know that you have a support system. Again, Maple Leaf at that email for the Maple Leaf fundraiser. Then you have my contact information as well. If we can do something to support your fundraising efforts, if you have individual concerns, we want you to reach out.
Yeah, and one of the questions that just came in, because you said, we're getting near the end here. As it relates to online maple syrup sales, yes, you, the unit, is responsible for delivery. Your scout is, or the adult, you're responsible for getting that product. What's going to happen is you will submit your take order sale to us. I will take that and combine any online sales that actually, you know what, let me open up real quick. If you guys are willing to bear with me, I'm going to show you an example of a report that you guys would actually get. Let's see. All right, I'm going to share this one. All right, bring it over.
And while John is pulling that up, we had a couple of questions. The cards are on hand. They are here in the building. So you can pick them up as early as tomorrow. Again, please try not to bombard us because they just came in, but they are available. And then somebody was asking about the coupon code. Mike, we might want to go back and show it real quick. I'm not sure if it's worth pulling the whole card back up again, but there is an access code on the back of every single card, and that's what they would use at that BSA camp card site to access their savings.
That's correct. Every single card has a unique coupon code printed on the back of that card. That actually comes at a higher cost to the council to have those cards produced, but we didn't want to not put it on there because I think it adds too much value to the unit to be able to. It makes it easier to sell these cards. As James just said, the cards are on hand, but I do want to just circle back to that. We are asking for 1 business day. So feel free, get your orders in this evening. But let's not be at the member care center at 10 a.m. because there is nobody there right now. So let's remember they do open at 10 and they close at 4:30. We don't want to be submitting an order at 4 p.m. and showing up at 4:15, hoping to be able to pick them up. We really do need to try to work with that 1 business day turnaround.
All right. And real quick, so everybody knows, if you do have online orders, and some of you guys who did the sale last year, this isn't going to look any different. But what you'll get is a report that looks like similar to what I'm actually sharing with you right now. It's going to have your customer's email address. It will have your customer's phone number, their first name, last name. Again, this is where you have then their product that they purchased. So in this case here, this individual ordered a pint and really nothing else. But in some cases, they order more. Also included in the report, you will get what their street address is and everything else. So again, I mean, that is what you will certainly be given. And that's something that I will compile for each unit that does have online sales. And I will get that out to y'all and everything. Again, that side of what gets ordered for your unit, I take care of, and I combine with your take order sale. So,
James, do we have any other questions that haven't been answered?
No, we do. Well, just kidding. As soon as I said that, no, we're actually good.
Okay, then I'd like to take this time to personally thank everybody for what they do for scouting, taking the time out of your evening to be with us, to help your units and your scouts, do what they need to do to fund their adventure. It takes time, it takes passion, and we want to thank you very much sincerely for the time that you put in to do what you do for our scouts.
All right.
And with that, I think we'll call it a night, and please reach out if we can assist you in any way.